Everybody, hump day. What's up? I mean, it's just another day in paradise, right? Another day in paradise. Another day in a long succession of days. How's it going? Everybody making money? Getting rich, yo. Yeah, I shouldn't say the rest of that. Anyway, uh, how's it going? So beef getting a little crazy, right? Beef getting a little crazy. That's kind of the name of the game here today. I mean, welcome back to the show. I was at the grocery store the other day, doing my part to, stimulate that economy best I can, and you know, pass by the meat section, feeling a bit, carnivorous, and there it was. A beautiful marbled ribeye. So perfect, so dry aged, it almost brought tears to my eyes. But then I looked at the price tag and started crying for a different reason. I mean, I had to check my calendar and make sure I hadn't actually accidentally gotten in a DeLorean and time traveled to 2050 or something. I mean, talking about a dystopian future where cows are apparently an endangered species and we pay for steaks like our firstborn child, but no, it's 2025. And the price of beef, high. High is maybe an understatement. I'm starting to think that those eat the rich people are onto something because they might be the only ones that can afford a decent steak anymore if you buy it at the grocery store. So, what's the deal? Why does a simple burger now cost more than a share of some of the tech stocks we trade? Well, classic story. Supply and demand, right? With a modern, slightly apocalyptic twist in the story. So, the number of cattle in the US is at a 50-year low. Decades of droughts, rising feed costs, and a supply chain that's more tangled up than your headphone cord. All this stuff has created a perfect storm. It's so bad, ranchers are actually selling off their herds in full just to stay afloat. It's like a sad country song. But instead of losing the dog in the truck, you lose your entire livelihood. And for a lot of people, that's kind of a tragedy, right? For a lot of ranchers, it means rice and beans. That's less and less of that juicy, delicious beef. But for us, the savvy investors, the ones who see opportunity where others maybe crying in their beer or wishing they could afford a burger, well, this is where it potentially gets interesting because where there's blood in the streets, or in this case, a shortage of beef coming to the grocery store, or just shortage of beef being grown, period, potentially money to be made. So let's talk about how to profit from the great bovine depression here. Well, first off, there's the obvious play. You can invest in the big boys, the Goliaths of the meat industry. And we're talking about like Tyson Foods, TSN, or the Brazilian behemoth, JBS. They control a large portion of the U.S. meat processing market. With beef prices this high, well, we can only hope that their profit margins are looking just as juicy, if not juicier, than one of these steaks. It's like betting on the casino. The house always wins, and in the world of beef, these guys own the house. But maybe you're the kind of person who likes to bet on the obvious. But maybe you're not. Maybe you're a bit more sophisticated. Maybe you're a picks and shovels kind of investor. During the gold rush, the people that really got rich weren't the ones digging up gold. They were the ones selling picks and shovels and supplies. So who's selling the shovels in a beef gold rush? Well, it's the companies that make equipment that ranchers need to protect their four-legged gold mines. Think about it. If a single cow is worth what can be a small fortune these days, you're going to spend a little bit extra to keep it safe and healthy. We're talking about companies that make livestock trailers, high-tech fencing, state-of-the-art tractors, cattle tracking technology. These aren't really as sexy a play as a big meat packing plant, but these are essential tools of the trade of raising beef. And in the boom that we're in, where demand is sky high and supply is dwindling, well, this is the kind of thing that can make some profit. Now, for the real gamblers in the room, the contrarians, the one who like to bet against the herd, pun intended, what if this whole beef thing is actually a bubble? What if people get so fed up with paying $30 a pound, $40 a pound, $50 a pound that they just stop? What if they turn to the dark side? No matter how bad you think it might be, what if they turn to plant-based meats? This is where a company like Beyond Meats, BYND, comes to the table. Now, let's be honest, their stock beaten down worse than a tough cut of round steak that you try to make into a palatable meal. But at these beef prices, plant-based burgers might be more appealing. If this beef crisis continues, Beyond Meat could be the ultimate comeback kid. High risk, high reward type of play. Might go lower. If you're feeling lucky, it's a way to bet on the end of the beef empire. So there you have it. 3 ways to play in this great beef inflation of 2025. You can ride with the kings, you can sell them their tools, or bet on the revolution. As for me, I'll be sitting here wishing I could afford the ribeye, but looking at my portfolio instead, and not so sad anymore, you know. Doing all right for myself. So good to see everybody. So we got channel members Cliff, Ted, Rob, David, Sludge, Jason, Darren, Rongamer, Skaggs, Terry, B, Rob, Ted, Frank, Dan, Pauline, Mary, Ed, Hugh, Serge, Craig, Nancy, Arturo, anybody I skipped, sorry, Dawn, and all the subscribers like Catherine, Granot, Francis, Brian, Francois, good to see everybody. Diane, so good to have you. Welcome to Monday, right? Is it Monday still? Tuesday? Wednesday? I don't know. Welcome to the markets. Pop over here. Before we talk trades and how we make money today, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance, not necessarily indicative of future results. I make some predictions in the market. Sometimes they come true. Sometimes they don't. Things that have worked in the past may stop working and never work again. This presentation is intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. Don't trade them. You might lose money. And if you desire personal financial advice, hire and consult a financial advisor. I don't play one on YouTube. It's not what I do. Here we are on Wednesday, September 24th. This is the last Wednesday of Q3. Tomorrow's last Thursday. I mean, Q3. About to be in the books. Next Tuesday is the end of this quarter. We usually have a little bit of quarter madness. Funny enough, I saw a thing that said Bitcoin usually drops from the 17th to the 23rd. It drops 5%. Over the last 16 years, that's the average drop in that. It's a 5% pullback that time frame. I saw this yesterday, of course, right at the end. It's kind of interesting. So Bitcoin might be done pulling back historically every year for like 16 years. Pull back. average of 5%. It's kind of interesting. Mark it on the calendar. So today, benign. Nothing really crack-a-lacking. Got some new home sales come out at 10. Got final GDP tomorrow. Unemployment claims, durable goods, blah, blah. PCE on Friday, which is probably the biggest news number of the week. Right here. Next week, of course, we wrap up the quarter, and then we get the jobs report on Friday. Yeah. As I talked about last night, we'll be kicking off the earnings season. A lot of companies entering their buyback blackouts, usually 3 to 4 weeks. There's no set regulatory time frame. It's up to the company. They set their own policy. It's like a self-policing thing. They institute their own stock transaction blackout window. This affects anybody with knowledge of the stock price and the performance and the sales and all that stuff. And so there's a blackout window, and they can't trade. The company itself can't do any buybacks, these billion-dollar buybacks that we've been hearing about for, kind of driving them, kind of providing stability in the market. Well, it kind of dries up for a few weeks as we come into earnings each time. This provides an opportunity for chaos to ensue in the market because those buybacks aren't there. Now, coming up like the 15th of October, we're looking at, this is next week, following week. So 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks from now, we'll be in the ramp up of earnings. This week right here is where it really starts ramping up, really gets to the peak down in here toward the end of October. So once we pass the earnings, the blackout's over. Like, they can buy back stock, they can make transactions, they can do whatever, insiders, all that sort of stuff. So we're in kind of this quandary period for the next 2 to 3 weeks where things will kind of be muted on the upside potentially, at least from the buyback standpoint. So looking at the S&P, nice little pop, bounced off the 15-minute roadmap line. If we get above the 618, next high, 6706. Plain and simple. Got my alert sitting there. Right there waiting for you. Come on, higher price. Let's go on up. I will be right here waiting for you. So, opportunity if this actually bounces. There we go. All right. Yeah. Take a girl out. Treat her nice. Happy anniversary, David. Kimberly, my favorite subscriber. Speaking of anniversary. My favorite subscriber in the chat. Good morning. Oh, I let LK outside. I think she rang the ring a bunch of times, so maybe you let her back in. And, well, yes. Also dropped down to the 15-minute. Well, this thing's going to run slow this morning. It's beautiful. Yeah, I came in the office this morning, and like, I parked behind the building, so there's like a gap between the two buildings. I drive between it. I pulled in the parking lot. I go, I can't go between the building because one of the front trees in the planter had fallen over and was laying in between the two buildings. It's kind of laying on the buildings, but awesome. So 15-minute, I guess, ES we got below right there. Got to get through 30 minutes holding. Hold. Yeah, 30-minute was the one I was talking about. Let's see. There's the high. Here's the low. So need to get through 67.30. 67, 35, 25 with a close above that to set up that right there. Yeah, bummer, David. There you go. Make your plan. Make it a surprise. Make it something good. Buy one of those $1 million stakes. Just kidding. In queue. Potentially done here. Also working on 5 up. Probably do a 3 retrace and then set up the bigger upside. There's the high. Here's the low. There's the resistance. Get above it. Going up. It's pretty simple right now for most of these. Russell, man. Whew, that was a move yesterday. That was a move yesterday. Same kind of bounce though. This one, it broke out finally. We finally made it up to all-time highs. Finally. We've set the odds. We're going on up here at 26.12. Catch up trade, 2,600. Gold, still, I mean, gold, black gold. Back up into resistance. We got the roadmap line coming down here. This ought to get interesting. This all comes together. Do we bust through and set the stage for going higher? Or do we reject and go down to the bottom? It's a coin flip at this point. As long as we're sitting right here consolidating. It's in the middle. I mean, the range from back here, May to June. Big range. We're just parked right in the middle. Hanging out between the 50% and the 618. Haven't been able to break down. Certainly don't have any strength. Lower highs all the way through. So oil's got a decision to make. And right now I'm biased low. Biased to the downside. This is not strength. And that would clean it up. Gold, well, might spike that 38.80 area right up there. See what the trade does this afternoon. As long as it doesn't get a big pullback, we're probably going to be long. BTC. Can we get a reversal cooking here? I'm ready to be done with this pullback. We pushed the limit. Came right down to, actually hit my alert at, I had it sitting just on top of the 618 right there. Hit that at like 1 a.m. or midnight a.m. or I don't know. It was an early alert. And I want that to hold. I want it to hold. I'm going to put another alert right below that limit. We need to go higher. Potential 5 up right there with a 5 up inside with a, I don't know. It's just like another degree 1, 2 inside. We got a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I mean, I don't know. There was a potential 5 up complete in here. I just don't know if this was the 1, 2 or if that was just sloppy and this is the 1. And this is now the 2. Whichever way it rolls. Sets us for, if we can turn bullish here, this is the level to watch for kind of breaking out through that consolidation we had just a day or 2 or 3 ago. Break up through it. Be rocking and rolling right up here. It's funny right there, the 18th. We pulled back. It was about 5% on Bitcoin's price. So that would be what we're looking at. Next target, maybe even up to 130. That would shock people, right? Take a rip from 113 to 130. I mean, we could do that in a day. Bitcoin could do that in one day. That's kind of power we got sitting here. So this could be the finality move too. Like this, entirely possible if we pull this on up to this zone, 3, 4. We get a 5 right up in there, and that'd be it. Blow off top right into the 150,000 area. This is what we got cooking. Might be the end. Be careful out there. This could be the final move on Bitcoin that we're staring at right here before we enter crypto winter. Like, why do you expect crypto winter? Because why would you not? This is just a big bag of disappointment so far. Not showing any sign of doing anything. We get back on the upper side of this resistance. We consolidated in here for, gosh, half a month. Seems like. Get back on the upper side of that, break above. Downtrend of highs. Let's get going up. Gotta get above some of these roadmap lines on the lower time frames. Gotta get above that. Gotta get above this resistance to go higher. But this is a red flag right there. We can easily drop back down to the daily roadmap line from here. Ethereum's been outperforming. Just in case you don't remember where it is. Sitting down here around 35, 36. If it ever draws. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Man, talk about slow. Guess TradingView doesn't love me. Put a lot of stress on their server. There it goes. There you go. 35, 36 right there. So now that we've gotten down here, this is a real possibility. Right there. Right there is a very real possibility. NKD. This is winding up for the pitch. Can we grand slam it up here to the targets? 48, 49, 50. Boom, right up in there. This pop should take most of the risk on assets higher. Risk on assets, these two. S&P. NASDAQ. These two. Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's our biggest risk assets right there. Those things right there should go higher with an increase in global liquidity. Dollar. Ooh, looky, looky, looky. Trying to break higher. It's just a 1, 2, 3 so far. ABC. And we're going to have to get all the way up to the roadmap line to indicate that we might get continuation higher. Looking for that move up to 100. That'll probably put pressure on Stuff like the euro is probably going to come back to the roadmap line. Big fat drop. Let's see. Dollar yen. Maybe a pop here. Great British Pound USD. There we go. Click on the right one. So pound dollar, probably coming back to the roadmap line. Also, I might come back to the roadmap line. That one looks sloppy compared to some of those other ones. Ooh. That looks like it's going. That looks bad. That looks like we're going to flush on down. Apple. Kind of tip the odds that we're going to see this rise on up here. It can still, like, this is still real, like, right down to the roadmap line, and then below that, back down to extensions lower. But now that we've come all this way and we broke through this up here, probably going to extend it on up to 276. That would be what I expect, but don't feel strong enough conviction to trade for it right now. Not for me. Well, I just did something. I'm not sure what it was. Amazon still coming back to test the roadmap line. If we don't hold it, yeah, this is still a real possibility down to a lower low than we made back here in April. So key support right there. If we don't hold it, watch out. If we do hold it, watch out. Upside 257. Downside, lower than this 160 area, probably. Google consolidating here, but probably highly likely to hit that 260. Now, it probably has a giant. There's probably a giant psychological level at 250. A lot of people were expecting that, and that was one mega rip right there off the lows. I was kind of wrong. I thought we wouldn't make it that high, but we did. So that's an 82% move up. I mean, gee, Merry Christmas. And you got all these other companies announcing deals with Google to run their cloud service, AI cloud service stuff. So revenue up, baby. Here we are on Google's platform, YouTube. Meta. Lower high. Watch for this breakdown here. If we break down, we can go right back down to the roadmap line. Right in here. Around 690. If we get below that, we can come all the way back down here. Seems unlikely, but that's why sometimes I get lucky on this. I would watch out. Like, this pattern can still correct all the way back down to the vicinity of this low from April. Back here. We can bring this all the way back down, and this can get started and do a bigger drop. Caution, like the upside looks sketchy right now. Be careful. I was talking about a potential double from down here. Well, we're pretty darn close to it, so be careful. Microsoft is still being soft. Probably set up for another ABC correction. This one did the big correction back there last summer and then into April. Then we did this giant 62% rip and stopped. just shy of the 618 right there. Now we're going to correct back down, retest the breakouts, more than likely. Right back down here around 46, 469, 470. Test that breakouts. We can hold it. Takes back higher. If we don't hold it, new correction. NVIDIA grinding in here. Just keeps banging that level right there. I mean, 185 seems to be some kind of like psychological level, and maybe even 184.50. I mean, look at that. We've hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days now. We've hit that 6 daily candles and rejected back off of it. That's a 3-wave up. No way to not say that's not 3. And then this pullback right here overlap that high right there. This is corrective in nature right now. And I would expect this to get continuation to a lower low than that low at 165. Anything lower than 165 can finish this up. But retesting the breakout here looks highly likely. Salah grinding that area right there below the 450 targets. And then we've got more resistance up here. Targets at 466, 550, 490 prior high, 550, 611. You can doubt it all you want, but likely to bust on higher. Netflix. Still in the throes of this correction. It's like I talk about the same stuff every day, so this is still likely to come on down. Finish up the C wave. Now we could stop right around 1100, or we could cruise on down to 1000. Now I go pull all the gainers. Things moving $2 or more up in the pre-market. Put it on the gainers list. And I grab things moving down $2 or more and put it on the decliners list. So now, man, this roadmap thing being slow is gonna bug the holy snot out of me. That's weird. So that one instantly pops up, but this one up here doesn't. That one instantly pops up. Whatever. So there's basically the roadmap line, just a very simplified version of it. Here's the high, here's the low. We already were above the 618, so we've already tipped the odds. We're going up to 1300, but we're just messing around with lower highs and higher lows. It's just a big watermelon seed squeeze. That to me makes it slightly unreliable as far as what's going to happen next. We have the odds, 75% chance we're going higher, but, you know, doesn't have to do it. Running out of room sometime out here in October for this to squeeze in here. Then do we pop or do we drop? Dollar below the low is the stop, and the target's up here. We're kind of right near the middle. Well, that blew through all the targets. Baba, gapping higher again. How's our buddy K-Web doing? Not too crazy today. I see this on up here. 48. QBTX. It's leverage on QBTS. PW. So this one did the. Here's the pullback. Here's the move up. That's the target area. Retest the breakouts. All those things I talk about over and over and over. Next likely target, if we're going higher, 486. There you go. Sometimes it's as simple as that. There's another Rigetti 2x leverage. Being crazy. Baba 2x leverage. BMA. Is that a bottom? That's a good question. Well, it meets the ABC criteria right there. Absolutely beautiful. Turn down at the 618 correction. The only problem here is that there's not 5 waves in that C wave. We could get one more move down. Watch for a break through the roadmap line. If we do that, the 618, it's probably going to be right here. Yep, right there. Break through that. Sets up the odds. We're going up to 138. So resistance at the roadmap line, resistance at the 618, and then it kicks off the target, 75% likely once we get above that 80 level. Why is EAT so high? It's not really, I mean, they're just making money in an industry that's having trouble. So look at everything. They got running on debt, but they're paying it off, working it down a little bit. $1.7 billion of debt. Not crazy. 1/6, almost 1/5, 20% of their company is debt. Of course, maybe that's the debt's off the market cap, so maybe if they can pay off the debt, they can boost the market cap. COGS, pretty expensive. Net income, abysmal. Yeah, I designed a restaurant for Brinker up in Troy, Michigan. It's got a 1x price to sales ratio. Yeah, I mean, say what you want to, but so that's probably first move down, retrace, next move down. Probably going to continue down here. Up a little bit today, but we'll see what happens. Now they're not taking on debt they're paying off debt. They took on debt to potentially expand or keep themselves in business years ago. I mean, they were expanding the debt back here, probably to stay alive in the pandemic. Now they're working it back down. I only have the 4 years. I wish you could see the whole thing on here, but you can't. Only show you a few years. High debt's a dangerous sign. Those debt candles, giant debt. Be careful. All right, leverage. Pharmaceuticals. That's the wrong one. SAP in. Yeah, so we hit the target and retrace. That's why. So this is why you get out when you hit the target, because right back down. Here's the high, here's the low. We get back through. Ooh, gap down too. Get back through that zone. Looking for 324 on the upside. KBAB, not enough candles to do anything with. And it's just sit up here with no trend. It could be bullish. So this will probably, if that's the point where we would usually see a pullback, and then that move right there probably happen right there. Looks something like this from roughly right there. So we'll probably pull back like this and then expand like that. This is an investment trust with 2x leverage. Nah, wait. Yeah, 2x on Baba. That's what that looks like right now. That's interesting. KBAB. UNH. I think I've been pretty clear here. That's the path I expect. We'll see what happens. Resistance is right there where we are. SHFS. Dumpster fire. Dumpster fire. I wouldn't touch it. Don't touch this. Sure. KBR. Under the roadmap line. Kind of in a downtrend. Kind of. We are in a downtrend. See if this thing will load. Load, baby, load. Go, baby, go. Come on, it's just... I bet it has to calculate the whole stupid thing. Let's see. There we go. I have some other stuff in that Echo Trades indicator. So until we can get back above the 618 up here at 59, this is downward bias at this point. Baidu. Yeah, that's why KWeb's not up as much as it, not back to highs. This one took a step back yesterday. Coming back a little bit. We need to see this break on out, get through this resistance up here to go higher. CLPT. Medical specialties. I don't trade this stuff. You can trade it if you want to. You can trade it if you want to. Looking like first move up. Retrace to a 618. Sets up the potential for 94 on the upside. THO. Thor Industries, recreational products. Yeah, we didn't really finish the downside, but that we technically, we didn't hit the targets on the downside, but we did technically finish the pattern by making a lower low. So I said the only requirement is that we make a lower low. We typically would hit this zone around here, but we didn't, and we're reversed. And it's just one move up off the low. So at this point, it makes it difficult to tell anything off of this. Now, zooming out and look at the bigger picture here. Alerts. Got this low we made back here during COVID. Got this high right here. We came down to the vicinity of 618. So Thor could potentially be setting up for a move to triple itself, quadruple itself, or if it gets extra spicy, whatever that is, 7 times itself. Quadruple, quintuple, 6 and 7. I can't remember what those. So potential for a 7xer right there. Wouldn't be bad. Buy 10 shares, $1,000. Turn that into $7,000. MSTR. Let's see what we got cooking here. Hey, good looking. What you got cooking? Nothing. Sideways grind. Till Bitcoin can move. That one's probably not doing anything. SCCO. The heck? Splits have occurred. That was like a weird split. 1% extra shares. So we're probably going to take this one up to 139 right there. Do a debit spread on it. Cash in. Coinbase never hit the roadmap line, so got the gap down. Resistance right there. So that's resistance. There's supports, and we're just hanging with the homies right in between, going sideways. Don't really expect it to do anything until we can get through either the resistance or go tag the support. Then it would kind of confirm what might be the next step. ALB grinding on this downtrend highs, and be careful. Last time we did that resulted in a lower low. First solar coming into the target. Up around 250 was the middle of the target. VIST. Man, if anybody jumped on that, let me know. Like back when they announced the end of the rebate stuff for solar, and I said this is probably going up here. Great work if anybody got in it. Great work. And it's just that could possibly be done. That was a lower low. And if we turn back up through the 618, 67 on the upside. Circle. Probably going to continue lower. FUTU, hit that resistance, turning back down, can come back down in here very easily. Retest some prior fibs. GGAL. What is this? Well, we did the ABC and went even further down, so be careful. The downtrend for now. PDD coming up, getting through that 618. That's back up that 180 target that we've had on the chart for a couple of years now. Seems like at least a year now. C-Web is leverage K-Web. Probably going to go out to 66 to 70. Reddit. 308 next upside. YPF has a 3-wave down. Could it be done? I don't know. It's a downtrend until we reverse. Get back above all this stuff. Doesn't look like 5 down on the last bit there, so as long as we're still below 31, looks like still potential to go down again. And that looks like more leverage stuff. Global X Argentina. Maybe Argentina is going to rock and roll. You're back above the 618, 100 on the upside. GDS 61. Vor looks like dumpster fire. There's the reverse split. There it is. Dumpster fire. Lithium Americas. Nice pop. Trump said he wants to buy a big chunk. This is pretty nasty. It's not really gone anywhere for almost 10 years. ETHU. Downward pressure because of Ethereum. The yen. Probably going to pop. Decliners. ASML. Well, coming into that target zone. Be careful. I thought we'd go up to 1,000. We're darn near close to it. You know, if you got in back here and you rode it up, great work. Got lucky again. A-Lab, probably going to come back to the roadmap line. BE. That went kind of exponential. A nice big fat retrace back down in the 30 to 40 area. Be kind of expected. CTOS, grinding in here. Probably going to make a revisit a little bit lower. Adobe, still hunting the bottom. Expect that to dip in the 320 area. Oracle, watch for that to come back down. Leverage, leverage, leverage. FCX. Ooh, that's starting to look like an ABC potential. First move down, retrace. Pushed it a little high, but this would be the target zone right here. I1X is leverage. ACAD, back to the roadmap line. If we can bounce. Here's the high, here's the low. Through the 618, says up 27. Oklo getting whacked a little bit. That's pretty high. Watch for the retrace. Korea Bulls retrace. Coming off the highs. SNDK. And watch for that one to retrace too. SanDisk and Light. That was a big run. Consolidation back in the 120 area would be kind of expected. 4 things had setups today for potential entry. Here's the high, here's the low. 12, 12 targets. Turn that off. We'll add this on. This down. There's your entry and a potential 12 targets. And that can, looks like it's going to go there pretty quick. TGTX. Clear this one off. There's the high. Here's the low. Ooh. Must have picked up that one. Yeah, because that one hit the roadmap line. There's the high. There's the low. Entry, 43.92. That. Here's the high. Here's the low. Here's the entry, 880 target. VTMX. And that was already in it from back here. Firing it off again with that lower high, higher low. 3082 targets on the bigger pattern. And 2947 on the smaller targets. Bias for the day. Yeah, I expect this to go higher as long as we hold the 15-minute roadmap line on the cash index here. Expect us to go higher. Did retrace, but so if we start getting below this low, watch for the next extension lower. That could be an A, B, C down. So if we break down below here, probably coming down into the 6,600 area. Otherwise, break up through the 618, 6680, looking for that 67, 6713 on the upside. That's the game plan there. And I'll be live with Jack Carter at 11:30. Market Masters, as always. Now, it's our weekly show. So I'll throw in some links. Should be self-explanatory. There you go. It's for the show, the replays of the show, and get on the SMS list if you want to. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel, 9:15 tomorrow.